Hello everyone. Still feeling good? I really hope so. So are you still ready to accept new knowledge and insights for today's discussion? I know the answer is you are all ready. So without further ado, for today I will be discussing a verb. So we will focus on the usage or the different classes and forms of verb. It's quite long because we need to tap everything which has something to do with the verb. Okay, for my presentation agenda, we will be discussing the types of verbs, classes of verbs, tenses of verbs, and lastly, simple tenses, progressive tenses, perfect tenses, and perfect progressive tenses. So I hope we finish it very soon. So this presentation, let's begin. So these are the overview of the whole tenses of the verb. Overall, we have 12 tenses of the verb. Before that, let's define first what a verb is. Or in Filipino grammar, when we say verb, this is what we call as pandiwa. So it says here that a verb expresses action or a state of being and tells in active voice and what the subject of the clause is or does. A verb is necessary to make a complement statement, or in other words, when we say verb, this is what we call as pandiwa or action word. So it shows actions. It expresses action or state of being. Or in Filipino, nagsasaad ng kilos o galaw ng isang tao, bagay, hayop, or yung tinatawag natin na pangalan or noun. Next one, forms of verb. We have two forms of verb. So first one, the forms of verb tell what the subject, a person, place, thing, or concept does. So say for example, the boy kicked the ball. So our verb here is kick. Who kicked the ball? Our noun will be the boy. So the verb kick modifies our noun, which is the boy. So, pinakita dito, anong ginawa ng boy? Anong action yung ginawa ng boy? So, the action word is the word kick, which is in past tense. Next one. Okay, this will be the active verb. So when we say active verb or active voice, this is the subject of the sentence performs the action. Yung tao po or yung pinag-uusapan po sa isang pangungusap ang gumagawa ng action words or ang gumagawa ng verb natin. So that is what we call as active voice. So sentence in the active voice have a strong, direct, and clear tone. So basically, active voice constructions goes like this. So, just like our example, we have here the subject. Ang pagkakasunod-sunod po ng structure ng sentence natin or ng pangungusap under the active voice is first will be the subject, any noun or pronoun, followed by our verb or yung pandiwa, which is the action word, and then followed by the object or the recipient of the action made by the subject. So that is again the active verb. Again, when we say active verb, lagi pong nauuna ang subject, followed by the verb, followed by the object of the verb. And another thing to remember, kapag sinabi nating active voice, dapat po yung subject or yung taong pinag-uusapan or yung bagay na pinag-uusapan ang gumagawa ng kilos sa isang pangungusap. While the other one is what we call as passive voice or passive verbs. When we say passive voice or passive verbs, this is the exact opposite or kabaligtaran ng active voice. So it says here that passive verbs tell what is done to the subject. So the doer comes after the thing that was done. So also, it is being followed or it is followed by the forms to be, followed by the past participle. Let's have an example. The boy was kicked by the boy. So it says, we can see here that through the use of this Past participle verb, we can see that the action was being emphasized. So one of the usage or one of the functions of active voice is to show emphasis para po ma-emphasize yung verb na ginawa sa pangungusap. So usually po, kung ang structure ng active verb ay nauna ang subject, sinusundan ng verb, tapos object of the verb, dito po baliktad. Usually po, ang nauna ay yung object of the verb or yung the one or the noun or pronoun who receives the action or simply the recipient of the action made by the subject. So this will be the object of the verb. Ito po yung nakatanggap ng action made by our subject, which is the boy. While this is the verb, which is in past participle was plus past tense kick. And usually po, ang passive verbs ay laging may preposition na by. Lagi po tayong may by, then followed by the subject. So, baliktad po ang structure ng passive verb. Una po ang object of the verb, followed by the verb, and then followed by the subject. Next one. The next one will be the types of verbs. So we have two types of verb, which are the regular verbs and then the irregular verbs. I know some of you or all of you were already familiar when it comes to the regular verb and irregular verbs. So let's have a short of review. When we say regular verbs, these are verbs that forms its past and past participle by adding D or ED to the present form. Or in Tagalog po, kapag sinabi nating regular verbs, nagdadagdag lang po tayo ng D and ED sa base form or sa present form ng pandiwa or ng verb natin. Say for example, okay, so for example, the first rule in regular verb is verbs ending in E. Lahat daw po ng verbs na nagtatapos sa E, ang idadagdag lang daw po natin ay letter D. Say for example, change. Since the word change ends with letter E, therefore, we should add ED on the last letter of our word. So it became change, which is now in the past tense. Now, force. Force ends with E, therefore we will just add D to make it forced. Next one, dance. So dance is in the present form. To make it in the past form, we need to add D. So we will have danced. And lastly, bake, which is again in the present form. And since it ends with E, therefore we added ED and we will read it as bake na nasa past tense na po. Next one, verbs ending in a single consonant preceded by vowel. So, lahat daw po ng verbs na nagtatapos sa single consonant, tapos bago yung single consonant na yun, may vowel po, ang idadagdag naman po natin ay ED. So, we will repeat the last word and then we need to add ED. Say, for example, plan. So, plan ends with consonant N, and consonant N is preceded by the vowel A. So, therefore, we need to repeat the consonant N, and then we need to add ED. So, therefore, we have planned. Next one, drug. So, drug ends with a consonant G, and the consonant G is preceded by a single vowel A. Therefore, we added another G, or we repeated the consonant and then added ED to make it in the past tense, and so on and so forth. Next one. Another rules is verbs ending in a single consonant preceded by two vowels. So kung kanina po, kung nagtatapos sa consonant tapos sinusundan ng vowel, dodoblehin natin yung last consonant and we need to add ED. Dito naman po iba. So, say for example, lick. So, ang lick po natin ay nag-end ng single consonant. At bago po ang single consonant, we have two vowels, which is the A and then the A. Therefore, we need to add ED at the end of the consonant word. So, it will become lick. Next one, shout. So again, it ended in a consonant T and preceded by two vowels, which is O and U, and therefore it became shouted. Claim became claimed for the past tense. Became stook. Paano naman kapag stop? So kapag stop, therefore we will follow the another rule that dodoblehin ng T and then we need to add ed. Next one. Verbs are more than one syllable ending in a single consonant. So lahat daw po ng verbs na more than one syllable and ending in a single consonant, ang idadagdag po natin ay ed. Say for example, occur. Occur is two-syllable word. So therefore, dahil more than one syllable siya, dahil siya ay two syllables, kailangan po natin siyang dagdagan ng ed. Same with offer. Offer is a two-syllable word. Therefore, it became offered. Next one will be omit. And since omit is a two-syllable word, we need to add ed. Therefore, it became omitted. And same with the cancel became canceled. For the next one, another rule is verbs ending in Y preceded by a consonant. So, same with the rule with the other part of the speech. So, lahat po na nagtatapos sa Y, we need to change that Y to I and then add ed. Say, for example, study. Study ends with the consonant Y and therefore we need to change this consonant Y to I and then we need to add ed. Dahil nagtatapos po ang study sa Y, so therefore ito pong I, papalitan natin ng I and then we need to add ed to make it in the past form of the verb or past tense of the verb. Same with the carry, it became carried. Next one, marry became married, copied to copied. The other rule will be verbs ending in Y preceded by a vowel. Kung ito ay verbs ending in Y preceded by a consonant, change Y to I, add ed ang ginawa natin. Dito po, stay as is. Kahit po nagtatapos po ang verb natin sa Y, just add ed. So, play, it becomes played. Convey, conveyed. Delay, delayed. Employ, employed. So, bakit po? Kasi po ang verbs natin, kung mapapansin nyo po, if you can observe, it ends with Y. Tapos, ito pong Y preceded by a vowel. Play is preceded by a vowel A. Delay is preceded by a vowel A. Convey is preceded by a vowel E. And employ is preceded by a vowel O. Therefore, we should just add ed at the end of the Y.